Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodhana Vrajajana Jana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Jaya Radha Kunjave Hari Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramani Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Purani Jaya Purani Saurabhika Jaya Purani Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Jai Gaura Hari 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 Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस शील एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की पिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Today we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 28, text 11 to text 14. Text 11. भयनाम्नो ग्रजो भ्राता प्रज्वारः प्रत्युपस्थितः ददाहतां पुरीं कृत्स्नां भ्रातुः प्रिया चिकीर्षया. Translation. Under the circumstances, the elder brother of Yavana Raja, known as Prajvara, set fire to the city to please his younger brother, whose other name is fear itself. Text 12. Tasyam sandahyamanayam saparuhu saparichadaha kautumbikaha kutumbinya upatapyata sanmayaha. Translation. When the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. King Puranjana thus became very unhappy. Text 30. Yavano Paruddha Yatano Grastayam Kalakanyayam Puryam Prajvara Samsrishta Purapalo Anmatapyata. Thus, translation. The city superintendent of police, the serpent, saw that the citizens were being attacked by Kalakanya, and he became very aggrieved to see his own residence set ablaze after being attacked by the Yavanas. Text 14. Nasheke so vitum tatra Puru Krachoru Vepatuhu Dantum Aichat Tato Vraksha Kotarat Iva Sanalan. Translation. As a serpent living within the cavity of a tree wishes to leave when there is a forest fire, so the city's police superintendent, the snake, wished to leave the city due to the fire's severe heat. purport we will see during the class. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. First of all, I would like to take the blessings of all the devotees here. So, this chapter is entitled Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. And here the situation where Puranjana is about to leave the body, and the particular type of fever is explained, that is called Prajwara. So Prajwara is the fever which is here Srila Prabhupada in the purport he is mentioning that according to the Vedic system, a dead body is set on fire, but before death there is another fire or fever which is called Prajwara or Vishnujwara. Medical science verifies that when one's temperature is raised to 107 degrees, a man immediately dies. This Prajwara or higher fever at the stage of life places the living entity in the midst of a blazing fire. So even in the Srimad Bhagavatam second canto, it is mentioned our whole devotional practices which we are doing throughout our life. The whole purpose is that at the end of life, at the point of leaving the body, we remember Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, with love, with pure love. So that is the whole purpose. So Ante Narayana Smriti. So that's the whole thing. And many times Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas, they mention that it is not possible only if we practice devotional service for few days or few months. So it is that Kaumaram Acharet Prajno Dharman Bhagav. So throughout the life, if one practices devotional service, that is also not just, just casually. See, casually practicing devotional life, it may give us some little progress here and there, little progress. But we have 9 stages of devotional service, and to overcome anartha nivritti stage, we really need to have that intensity. That sometimes with determination. One thing is the constant endeavor. Another thing is the intensity. So both are very, very important. It is like, we are going through the hill. Say, suppose I have to, one hill is there and I have to cross the hill. So all the things I have to go first, initial phases, what will happen? I have to climb the hill. And the Shraddha is the starting point where I start my journey. And then Bhajana Kriya. Then the real Sadhu Sangha and Bhajana Kriya, then real Anartha Nivritti is that peak where we have to put lot of effort. If you are taking the cycle, say, so how much you have to pedal during that stage where it is too much peak, cliff, whatever you say, that one, you have to put a lot of effort, right? So even when we pump the water from ground to top, there is something where there is a lot of force is required. So initially in the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we need that kind of endeavor. So that is the crux actually. If we cross anartha nivritti, then it's very, very fast, because we are in the nista is almost like reaching the top of the hill. And nista, after that, ruchi, asakti, then bhava prema. Bhava prema, asakti, bhava prema is like, just how do you ride the cycle in the down? You just don't have to pedal also, right? Just you have to balance. That's all. It is automatically, the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is spontaneous. It's like you're just balancing. You just see to that you don't fall down. Don't commit any offenses, but you don't have to much endeavor, put effort to pedal, and aram say, you go, just balance yourself, and after you getting down, you reach the goal. So initially, Anartha Nivritti stage is the one where you put the lot of effort. So the whole thing, what we are connecting here, this Ante Narayana Smriti, the whole life we should practice with intensity and constantly, as much as possible. Constantly means in the initial phases, we may just chant 16 rounds, and after 16 rounds, we keep the bead bag aside. That is the initial phases. But as we progress, that constant should become up to 24/7. That is the constancy we should get. So both the quality and the quantity we should keep on increasing in our devotional life. So in this way, if we practice very seriously, then we will remember the Lord at the point of death. But otherwise, if we are practicing just casually, like we know there are 3 types of chanting the holy name: Nama Parada stage, Nama Bhas, and Shuddha Nama. And we are chanting, keep on chanting in the Nama Parada stage only. So what happens? So and last time Bhakti Prachar Maharaj came, and he was mentioning that in the Nama Parada stage, we chant for crores of lifetimes also, then we will not achieve the success, or which is Krishna Prema. So we have to come out of the Nama Parada stage as soon as possible. For that, we have to, completely avoid this doing offenses. That's why every day Srila Prabhupada introduced this, reciting this offenses every morning. Why do we recite every morning? What is the necessity that morning we after Shikshashtakam, then this offenses we recite? Because we should be aware of the offenses, and throughout the day we are conscious that we don't commit any of the offenses. That's the whole thing. It is not that we recite in the morning this all the offenses, and when it comes to devotees, we shout at them, we fight with them. So that is not the way how we deal in the daytime. So whatever we are reciting, we involve our heart, and during the day also we involve our heart and practice. So असंशयम महाभावो मनोदुर्नि ग्रहम चलम अभ्यासेन तो कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते. So unless we practice, it will not come. That practice only is the initial phase where Vaidhi sadhana bhakti we do lot of practice. So practice makes man perfect. So in this way, one thing is the intensity with which we practice, and another one is the constant practice. So here in the 12th, going further, in the 12th shloka, purport, indeed the living entity becomes so helpless at the time of death that although unwilling, he is forced to give up the body and enter another. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that man may, by scientific advancement, improve the temporary living conditions, but that he cannot avoid the pangs of birth, old age, disease, and death. These are under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the agency of material nature. A foolish person cannot understand this simple fact. Even in the second canto, it is mentioned, Pashyan na pashyati. So we know that shloka, right? So even though the persons are seeing that so many people are dying every day, and he himself undergoes so many births and deaths, so still he is not understanding that there is some higher purpose. There is some higher purpose in the life. So he is not understanding that fact only. So he is going on with the punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, this birth, old age, this cycle. Actually, I was hearing one lecture that Maharaj was mentioning. His uncle was there, and he is about to leave the body. Actually, he has suffered so much during his last days, and his body is almost torn out. Like how you even my father, when he was leaving, there is so much of this they call bed sore something, right? That but still they're so much attached to the body. He was mentioning his uncle was so much attached to the body. He was requesting doctor that please for some few more years let me live, like that he's requesting. And this doctor is telling, I am helpless, how I can save, because we think that other persons can save us, but we don't know that they only can't save themselves. Forget about they saving us. They can't save themselves. How they can save us? But due to illusion, we think that somebody else can save us. So this person is asking, his body is torn apart and is so disgusting, for others to see even his body also. But this person is asking, let me live for a few more years. So like that. Even Srila Prabhupada quotes that one rich person, right? Like he's asking, I will give so much of money and you can postpone my death, like that. So, and even this materialist scientist, they are so much illusioned. They think that they can overcome death. One in one article or paper they announce, very soon we will conquer death and there will be no more deaths. Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bhagwan ki jai. So here the illusion is to the extent that they are thinking they can overcome even death. So Prabhupada is mentioning he cannot, the temporary living conditions of living entity, that he cannot avoid the pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. He cannot overcome that because these are under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the 13th text, Srila Prabhupada in purport is mentioning there are two types of bodies. Which are the two types of bodies? The Sukshma Sharira and the Sthula Sharira. And of course, the spiritual body is in the Supta form, right? It is not manifested. As we practice devotional life, then the spiritual body gets start evolving. That point we know. And here is mentioned, actually the living entity is carried by the subtle body to another gross body. So the whole science is yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajantante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitam. So this science, it really works. At the point of death, whatever consciousness we are having, according to that only we get the next body. Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So actually, if we think of Krishna with love during the leaving the body, then one goes to spiritual world. But if one is thinking of some other animals or some other bhava he is having, smaran bhava, what bhava he is having? So Bharat Maharaj also we see he was in the bhava stage, but still he could not get, did not directly go back to spiritual world, right? So he thought of the deer because he was attached to the deer, and then after that he got the body of a deer. So this is science we need to understand very, very carefully. If the position of Jada Bharat or the Bharat Maharaj is that much, who is in the bhava stage, what is the hope for us? I mean, it's not that we are discouraging ourselves, but it gives the indication for us that how much serious we should become in our devotional life. How much time do I have? How much serious we have to become? It is that, it is that Krishna consciousness is emergency. Emergency. It is like morning, every day we are singing. Whatever songs we are singing or whatever prayers we are doing, we should do it with the heart. It is not that we come, ritualistically, we should not. In all the heart. So, morning, first we sing Guru Ashtakam, Samsara Dhava Nala Leda Loka. What is that? Dhava Nala. Is the forest fire. But are we really seeing the forest fire outside? So here in the previous shlokas, we see, the living entities try to enjoy this material world. They don't see the forest fire. What they are seeing, everything is object of sense enjoyment. Everything is I'm enjoying. Even subtly, there is subtle enjoyment. Just looking at object of sense objects and getting subtle pleasures. Even we are not aware that we are subtly enjoying, or so it's so subtle. false ego is so subtle. So, point is, samsara dhava, no legal. We should see the forest fire. And the words coming from the lotus mouth of spiritual master is the only hope. Hmm. So, Shushrusho Shaddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi. So, Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Niveshana. The service to the great soul is the only hope. Is a service to the pure devotee. That's the only hope for us. The spiritual master, he is protecting his devotee, disciple from this forest fire of material existence. That is the only hope we have. But if we don't take seriously, then we are also carried away by the waves of Maya. So actually, Maya has two potencies. Which are the two potencies? Avaranatmika and Pratyekshashmika. What is that? Prakshepatmika. Prakshepatmika. So Prakshepatmika is the throwing potency. So what does it throw actually? What is throwing potency? Throws into the material existence. But how does it throw into the material existence? It gives a opportunity. Beautiful opportunity, which is the desire is there deep within the heart. We want to enjoy in certain way. And it's exactly Maya knows that exact same opportunity she will give. So that how do we behave in such a situation? That's a test now. So there's a throwing potency. She threw the opportunity, and if we fail, we continue in the material existence. So that's the whole thing. She threw an opportunity and she sees. So that is, it is said, when it is a war between the living entity, the devotee and the Maya. So devotee has so many loopholes. And Maya is so expert, even a small crack is enough. That crack only she will break. But devotee should know the weakness of Maya. What is the weakness of Maya? In order to win the war, we should know the weakness, right? Otherwise, we can't win the war against the enemy. So what is the weakness of Maya? How we should win Maya? Daivi Hesha Gunamai. Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Yadvatya. So we can't win. The living entity can never win over Maya. Because Srila Prabhupada says, almost as powerful as Krishna himself. Because he's a Bhairanga Shakti of Krishna. So powerful. Living entity cannot win. Then how do we defeat? We don't have any hopes. So Maya has one weakness. What is that weakness? One who is surrendered to Krishna, she will not touch or she will not attack. So what is the hope for us? Only thing, we have to become completely surrendered to Krishna. That's the only way we can defeat Maya. So always remembering Krishna, or this Navavida Bhakti, whatever, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So if we are continuously doing this, then only Maya can be overcome. So this is the Prakshepatmika, this is her potency. So she has thrown the opportunity now. Whatever opportunity, we should be careful enough to protect ourselves, and during that time, not give in to Maya, but rather surrender to Krishna. That's the whole thing. That is that. Then we pass the test. And the second potency is the Avaranatmika potency. See, how does she do that? She creates the avidya, or she covers the vision. How that shloka is there in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Avratam jnanamete. Avratam jnanamete. So the real jnana she covers. What is the real jnana? Real jnana is Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nityatas. So this is the real knowledge. Apart from this, the whatever relationship I have with Krishna, and I am the eternal servant of Krishna. So apart from this, whatever knowledge we are finding in the material world, that's all avidya, actually. So she covers the chakshu. She covers divya chakshu of devotee or whatever jnana chakshu she covers. And then what will happen? Avratam jnana metena. So then the living entity is attracted to the object of sense gratification. So dhyayata vishayan pumsam sangasteshu pajay. Sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayat. So it starts thinking, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the control, I am the master. And he starts thinking that. Little bit enjoyment here and there, what will happen? After all, we should not be fanatic. We should not become fanatic. We should have here and there some material enjoyments. Maya convinces it is pulling. And we are also getting succumb to it. It's okay. We need not be fanatic. Okay, I'll get into it. This is how, Maya is very clever. She knows the weakness and she hits there only. So with these two potencies, she is hitting the jiva and throwing into material existence. Purusha prakrati stohi bhunkte prakriti jangunan karanam guna sangos sadasat yoni janma. So three modes of material nature. And under the illusion, one thinks that this is very nice. Whichever living entity which is there in the stool, or the living entity, the hog which eats the stool, also thinks this is very nice. That is the potency of Maya. It's so powerful that stool eating hog thinks that I am enjoying. So we can even we may why these stories are there. See, Indra becomes hog and he is not ready to go back. So that is the power of Maya, so much powerful. Then if Maya is so powerful, how much intense our practice should be? We should really intensely practice, for which we need very strong association of devotees and very strong hearing, because devotional life starts with hearing. And in next of instruction, Srila Prabhupada mentions about the different dashas. Shravana dasha, then Varana dasha, Smarana dasha, then Sampatti dasha. So in this, he is mentioning that initially we are just hearing. With some faith, we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That Shraddha is there. But as we progress, one becomes steady. And that steady hearing, and also in Smaranavastha, he gives 5 stages. Somebody remember which are the 5 stages of Smarana Dasha? So very, very important. We should know this because we have to practice this every day. One is the recollection, which is the manana. So we hear, but are we hearing and just leaving, or are we recollecting throughout the day? That recollection is very, very important. Whatever we are hearing, manana, that real recollection is very, very important. With the recollection, what happens? One progresses towards absorption or into getting into the subject. So then what he tries to connect here, there, and with the actual incidents happening in the day-to-day life. So slowly he starts developing that Divya Chakshu. Divya Chakshu is what? Actually, you see the external world, all the situations or whatever situations going on in and around, we try to see through the scriptures. The intelligence is becoming purified and very strong. And so complete absorption. Second step is the absorption. The third one is what? Dhyan. Second one is the dharana and dhyana. So dhyana meditation, one goes little deep. The hearing and absorption is little bit continuous, but there may be some interruptions in between. And when the meditation or dhyana becomes very, very deep, continuous, and expands means what? Our vision expands. So we see more everything with the through the scriptures, eyes of the scriptures. That's called anusmriti. Anusmriti. Then the last step, when the anusmriti becomes uninterrupted and very concentrated, it becomes samadhi. So in the Shravana Dasha, one starts hearing, just hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and glories of name, fame, pastimes of the Lord. And then Varana Dasha. So he starts getting little bit steadiness. And then in the Smarana Dasha, the 5 stages. And here he becomes attached, little bit attached to hearing it. In the Varana Dasha only, he start getting little bit taste for hearing. So here he becomes completely attached. And in the same 8th mantra of Padeshamrita, Srila Prabhupada mentions when samadhi becomes complete, one gets the Swarupa Siddhi. So the whole process starts from hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and hearing of the chanting which we are doing. Chanting also we have to hear. So when we hear chanting properly, then that is the beginning of, when we go further, then we immediately come to the stage of Namabhas. From Namabhas, it doesn't take much time to come to the Shuddhanam. So Namabhas, in beginning we have to hear. That is the whole main thing. When we start hearing, maybe in the beginning, what we will hear just some Krishna, some Rama here and there, Hare, we may hear like that. But that dharana stage, what is dharana stage? Dharana stage, one can hear the holy name for minimum 12 seconds. That is dharana stage. Minimum 12 seconds, he can focus continuously on the holy name. And what is dhyana state? 12 into 12, 144 seconds. He can continuously hear. That means he has achieved the dhyana. Then what is samadhi? 12 into 12 into 12. That comes to somewhere 28 minutes, almost 30 minutes, 28.8 minutes something. So the 30 minutes one can continuously focus on the holy name. So it all begins with the Shravanam. Shravanam and Kirtanam is the chanting of the holy name. So the whole point is intense practice, because this Maya's potencies are very, very strong. It keeps us in the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. A foolish person cannot understand this simple fact. Foolish persons cannot understand. So we should not be foolish. They're very anxious to make provisions for the future. Future, all security, everything. So one Maharaj was telling, they give credit cards. Now just keep it, don't use it. In case of emergency, you can use. So this credit card it takes. And there it is like hook. So all these future, this one, of course, we have to do the needful, but we should also understand ultimately Krishna is the one who is protecting. He is the one who is maintaining, and he will ultimately, he is the one who is caretaking, and he will only, he is the only shelter for us. So here they do not make any attempts to ameliorate the conditions of birth, old age, disease, and death. Thus, a person in ignorance, not knowing anything about his own future life, is certainly defeated by in his all activities. Defeated in his all activities means what? All activities, he is not Krishna conscious, only conscious of the self. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Even when we become devotees, we should be very, very careful. That this I and mine, this doesn't come into, this consciousness doesn't come into our services also. Taking credit more than what we have done. Or, so many things I don't want to mention, but the whole thing is we should be very, very careful, because when one Maharaj says that we have done some good deeds, okay, and the moment we take credit for it, then we don't get the other benefits of that particular activity. So don't take any credit. Selflessly serve, and what we are serving, the other person also should not come to know. Because when we silently, without anybody's notice, we are selflessly serving, all the whichever the devotional credits which has to come, that will get the full mercy from the Lord. But if we go in a mood of getting, oh, somebody should pat on my back, and somebody should do jai 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 like this, then will not get actually. There may be some progress, but the real thing is we should attract the mercy of the Lord. So here is what they are mentioned, defeated in all his activities means he's doing his activities, but with the material consciousness. So being devotees, we should be very, very careful not to bring that material consciousness into our devotional life. We should be very, very careful regarding this. So in the last, we'll finish with this. The last 14th shloka purport. It becomes very difficult for snakes to leave a forest when there is fire. Other animals may flee due to their long legs, but serpents only able to crawl are generally burnt in the fire. At the last stage, the limbs of the body are not as much affected as the live fire. So it's very, very painful when leaving the body. So it's mentioned in the Garuda Puran and various other places how much it's painful to leave the body. But one who is not attached to the body, one who is completely attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is not very difficult. There is with this example I close. There is an example of cat carrying the kitten and cat biting the mouse. So similarly, for the materialistic person, the death may be very, very painful. It's just like cat catching the mouse. The mouse feels very much pain. But one who is not attached to the body, one who is not attached to anything of this material world, we may be having wives or children or relatives, bank balance, so many things. If we are not attached, And if we are completely attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, at that moment, the death is like the cat catching the kitten. It is not so painful for the living entity. So, to summarize the whole class, Maya has two potencies, and she is very, very clever in uh, making the living entity throw into the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. For that to overcome, our practices should be very intense, and very constant, so that both intensity and the constancy, that is like quality and quantity of the devotional life, we go on increasing, and as much as possible try to serve selflessly and for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So then ultimately we achieve the success. What is the success we discuss? Is the Ante Narayana Smriti, Krishna Prema. So by the mercy of Guru, Hari Guru, Vaishnavas, so it will be awarded. It is given to us. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I think one or two questions. One question. 4 minutes. Or comments, corrections. No questions. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.